Michelle Obama goes to Princeton for free.
Yeah.
And has been in the ruling class her whole life. Yeah. And she's still lecturing you about how she's a victim of racism. Hillary Clinton, exact same thing. Goes to Wellesley, spends her entire life in the ruling class, and she's still whining about how she's discriminated against. Why are they doing that?
Yeah. And did you ever see, they'll have like pictures of, side by side, but it'll be like pictures of like Jimmy Carter's house and Obama's house.
Exactly.
And it totally represents something about the like corroding of our soul. Now,
in a white neighborhood, you should be required to live in the hood if you're Barack Obama and
if you're using that card.
You use that card. The only reason you got elected was because of your race. You spent your entire 8 years inflaming race hate in our country. Yeah. And then you go to Martha's Vineyard, the whitest zip code in the world. Not
the whitest zip code in the world. Those klepty lefties love spewing victimhood. And I'm such a victim of racism and sexism while I live on Martha's Vineyard. While I get to go on the most exclusive vacations. While I charge more than $500,000 for a speaking engagement. That doesn't sound like you're suffering. Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Today, I have insightful report, courtesy of them for providing this video. It has Tucker Carlson and a guest talking about how the left, particularly the Obamas and the Clintons, Hillary Clinton, I like to call her Hillary, and you all know why, are always talking about how much they are a victim. I'm oppressed. They're hating me. I'm suffering. If they're suffering, sign me up. Sign me up. But before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you all so much for your support. On my way to 40,000 subscribers. The numbers are really ticking up. Also, check out childlightcandles.com. This is a Christian veteran-owned company where 25% of their profits go to veterans and their families. Everything made right here in the good old US of A.
Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson do not hold back when exposing the way the Obamas and Clintons use the race and victim cards as keys to their success.
Barack Obama's campaign in 2008, first of all, it was just leaving how you feel about the guy aside. It was an amazing campaign. It was unlike anything that had ever been run before.
It was genius.
Yes, it was totally brilliant. It was now, of course, it wasn't what they presented it as. Yeah. It wasn't like a grassroots campaign. It was,
let's sort of like elect the black guy and get past the race stuff. I loved that.
Well, especially because that was his message.
That was his message. And
let's get past the race stuff.
I love that.
He goes, then I think essentially what happened, and it was around Obama's re-election campaign, this is where things really went off the rails in this country, was that he got in there and continued and expanded all the worst of the Bush policies.
Oh, of course.
And so they almost had nothing to run on. And so they decided to pivot to a culture war instead.
Many of us still live in fear as we go to the grocery store or worry about walking our dogs or allowing our children to get a license. I mean, just imagine.
Aren't your girls driving?
They're driving. Yeah. But every time they get in a car by themselves, I worry about what assumption is being made by somebody who doesn't know everything about them. The fact that they are good students and polite girls, but maybe they're playing their music a little loud. Maybe somebody sees the back of their head and makes an assumption.
An assumption? Okay, first of all, everyone knows who your daughters are. And what the heck are you afraid of when you have Secret Service? There's nothing to be afraid of. Oh, and how worried are you, Michelle Obama? I started to call you by something else, but I'm going to digress on that point because I don't even know if that's true. But again, they're playing the victim card. I'm worried about when they drive, if the wrong assumption is made or if their music is too loud. I live in Georgia. I've lived in Georgia almost all my life. Clearly, I'm Black and female. And like I said, I live in the deep South. You know, the South has a reputation of being racist, although I don't think it's any more racist than anywhere else, but that's just my opinion. primarily from my own experience. I haven't had these horrible experiences of being tracked down, of being accused of about to steal something, or being mistreated by the police. I get speeding tickets. They let me go. That's just my experience. But my husband says they're not going to always let you go. So you just slow your foot down with your lead foot. But I just haven't had these experiences. And every police officer, like I said, has let me go. And I really deserved to get that speeding ticket. And they're nice. Ma'am, you was going a little bit too fast around that curve, and no ticket. Okay, so I don't know where people are getting all this. Well, it's the demon rats. It's their strategy. That's just what they do. They always play racism and pitting us against one another. And you notice the demon rat media always shows a white cop who shoots and kills a person of color, primarily Black, who is unarmed. But when I looked up the crime statistics, it actually happens more when the white person is shot and killed by a police officer, but they don't show that, almost never show that in the media. So we are being played. We're being punked.
I, like so many parents of Black kids, have to, that the innocent act of getting a license puts fear in our hearts.
Candace Owens made an appearance on Tucker's show and shared her opinion on this.
Why? I notice a theme here. There are a lot of extremely rich people who are deeply miserable and desperate to have you believe they're victims. What is that?
Yeah,
it's
great. I mean,
to me.
LeBron James living in Bel Air, he's a victim. Meghan Markle went downgraded from billionaire to multimillionaire. She's a victim. They want you to know that they're all victims. It's because they're trying to distract us. The truth is that they view us as peasants. They're trying to make it seem like, hey, when the peasants turn against us because they're actually robbing all of them, we don't want them to look at us. We want to make them think that we're one of us. They're not one of us. They're nothing like us. They don't live like us. She has nothing that goes on in her life that is similar to the average American, yet she keeps trying to use her skin color and her complexion as a way to make people believe that she's suffering, and she's absolutely not suffering. And everyone should be aware that if you're watching this and you think that LeBron James and Meghan Markle and Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are oppressed, you are a fool. You have been fooled. They are doing just fine.
I have to agree with Candace. Anyone who believes these multimillionaires share our day-to-day struggles is an idiot. And as unsettling as it may be, the Obamas, Clintons, and Bidens have effectively commercialized their political careers. They've gotten away with using identity politics to exploit and manipulate unity among certain demographic groups, while at the same time capitalizing from their so-called relatable experiences. Because this strategy is very lucrative. Not only does it enhance their public image, but it also opens doors to unlimited profitable opportunities, such as book deals, personal branding ventures, and high-paying speaking events. For instance, Obama charges around $400,000 per public speech fee, and Michelle Obama actually charged $750,000 for a 1-hour public speech that was focused on overcoming self-doubt and promoting inclusivity and diversity. These are topics that gained significant traction during the Obama presidency, and of course is the trending topic of the Biden administration. The Bidens raked in around $15 million within the first 2 years of leaving the White House with the Obamas, while the Clintons have amassed over $26 million in speaking fees. Now, critics argue that while identity politics claim to advocate for marginalized groups, it's often used for financial gain, and this practice creates a cycle of division in society.
That's exactly what it is, a cycle of division, but it's padding their pockets. We have to stop being foolish, because it causes, you see these two people right here on the screen, they're hollering at each other. It promotes us being at each other, and it causes a major distraction or distractions that cause us not to see what is actually going on. Don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. Don't ever fall for it, because they're not showing us what's actually going on in the media. They show people fussing and fighting. They promote racism. They make it look like the white man is the boogeyman. Oh, he's just evil. And we know that is not all true. Of course, somebody is evil that falls into that category, but almost none of us are like that. We have way more in common than we do have differences. We just have way more in common. Pretty much all Americans want the same thing. All sane thinking Americans want the same thing. We all bleed red. We're one race. I cannot say this enough on this channel, but I just want you all to be aware of what the media and the demon rats are up to. They race hustle us. They've done it for a very long time, to be honest with you, hundreds of years, ever since the Demon Rat Party was established in 1828. Because at one point, the slaveholders, there were black and white people who were being oppressed, and black and whites back then banded together in the 1800s. People were doing them wrong, and they banded together. What the Demon Rats figured out, you know what they figured out? We're going to actually give the poor white man just a little bit more rights than the black slave, just a teeny weeny bit more. And that was enough to do it. That was enough to make, some of the white people who were struggling leave the fight along with his black brothers and sisters, because we're all one race. But this is just their technique of what they did. And then that caused the poor whites not to be in the same fight, because they gave them something that made them feel better then. But today, I see it. And that was the divide and conquer. I just want to say that, divide and conquer. And that's what the devil does, divide and conquer. And that's what the Demon Rats, Democrat parties, they did back then, because they were slaveholders. They figured out a way to divide back then. They are doing it now. Again, the parties did not switch. There was no such thing as the Southern strategy. It was just made up so that the Demon Rats can hide behind their racist past. So they can blame the other guy and say, it switched. Yeah. And they own the media. So when you look it up, it's going to say that it switched. But when you find out and dig further, do our homework, the parties did not switch. The Demon Rats own the media that divide and conquer, because they don't want us to see what is actually going on. So that was insightful report showing us that the elites, they're trying to call themselves oppressed, and they don't even live like us. Michelle Obama charging more than $700,000 for a 1-hour speaking engagement. Most people don't even make that in several years. She made it in 1 hour. So this race hustling is very lucrative. Very lucrative. Don't get any ideas. Don't get any ideas, because it's not right. It's of the devil, it's of Satan, and it's used to keep us at each other while they get rich. And they laugh, and they don't want us to actually wake up and know the truth. Found together the Clintons, Obamas, and Bushes. They hang out. They go to those elite parties, the best hangouts. And yet the Obamas still want to say racism. I'm worried about my girls, Michelle Obama said. Another thought came to my mind about those being her girls, but I'm not going to say anything. I am not. You guys should learn not to encourage me to say certain things. I can't say it here. You know that. Well, you all tell me what you think about what was stated. I appreciate you sticking around to the end of this video. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Make sure those notifications work. Also, on my way to 40,000 subscribers, I really appreciate your help. You can also visit childlightcandles.com, Christian veteran-owned company, where 25% of their profits go to veterans and their families. Please input the discount code LindaB. More information is also in the description. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, and these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors.